The new batsman.
Third man, deep cover, deep mid-wicket, deep square leg and a long leg outside the circle. Hit him's the call. Eskenazi racing in, had the throw bin on target. Weatherly probably would have been fine, but I'm sure they would have appealed. Yeah, on that occasion, Weatherly took full advantage of the rapid square boundaries and was able to just bat for hour after hour after hour. Really hot midsummer weekend it was as well. We were on the other side of the ground out at deep mid-wicket. We watched many a ball come to our direction across the course of the 4 days via Weatherly's blade. Doesn't get off the mark here. Wants a quick single, sent back astutely by Darcy Short. Owen Morgan could have just about run up and knocked the bails off after collecting it at cover. So it stays 80 for 1.
Just might be a slight change in momentum here, courtesy of Blake Cullen. All of a sudden, the Middlesex infielders are on their toes, cutting off the singles. Another dot ball. Really good this has been from Blake Cullen. Just starting to rein things back in for Middlesex. Exactly what they needed after a pretty poor first 5 overs. Cullen's first over went for just 3. He's picked up the first wicket in his second over.
An exceptional start from Blake Cullen. Just 5 runs on the wicket coming from his second over. He has 1 for 7 from his 2. 81 for 1 the score here at Radlett after 8 overs. Hampshire, after being sent in, had got off to a flyer, adding 71 runs in the power play, but Middlesex is dragging it back a little bit in the last 2 overs. And now getting a look at a new man, Joe Weatherly.
It's our first look at leg spin as well. Nathan Souter into the attack. None for 39 against Kent. 3 for 40 against Surrey in his 2 games, so he's been expensive. But he did pick up wickets in that first game. One of them a fantastic in-swinging arm ball to get rid of Jason Roy. Bowled him neck and crop, leg stump.
He'll give it a rip. Not from there he won't, halfway down the track, but Weatherly's happy taking the single to deep mid-wicket. 82 for 1. Fielders out at long on with short back on strike. That's green in front of our commentary position. Deep mid-wicket. Deep backward square, deep point, and a long off in front of the pavilion. Short, and Short can't put it away. Should have done better with that, half tracker.
He's become a key man, Nathan Souter, over the last few years for Middlesex in T20. For a while he was the only spinner. Now he's got a bit of help.
Better length. Weatherly dancing but having to play conservatively out to Stephen Finn. Doing the work on the mid-wicket rope. Yeah, Southey won himself a 100 contract with the Oval Invincibles.
He's going to the other side, isn't he?
Yes.
Why didn't the Spirit side him?
There'll be a bit of that, won't there? Saw it in the Kia Super League with the Women's T20 comp over a number of years. Next delivery isn't put away by Short, despite being just outside his leg stump. Didn't get enough on it. They take 1, 85 for 1.
Yeah, London Spirit head coach. He's a leg spinner, of course. Warney. Didn't fancy Souter for some reason. John Simpson as well has a contract in the 100. He's playing for the Northern Superchargers, and one of 5 Middlesex players.
Warney's got another member of the Middlesex team with him, doesn't he? Oh, there's the flatter one. Good bowling there from Souter. That's what makes him such an effective T20 bowler. Overthrows from the non-striker stumps. Green does the tidying up. But better from Souter. That's the one, isn't it? His top spinner that goes straight on towards leg stump.
That is the one that got Jason Roy. Beautiful delivery, that one. It actually swung in. I guess you'd call it a slider, perhaps. But it moved a long way. Roy tried to hit him through the offside. Completely undone.
Fraction wider than the ball that came before it, but the same delivery action, just sliding on, as you say. Good over. Asking the right kind of questions. 87 for 1, Hampshire. Make that 88 for 1 after 9 overs. Well, they would have taken that when the power play ended 3 overs ago, just to drag things back to roughly a run a ball in the next 3. Picking up James Vince along the way, the 1 wicket to fall so far from the bowling of Blake Cullen. Will continue from the Salters field end. It's got a slip. Top edge from Weatherly, down towards us, it'll go the journey. Not far away at all from taking out our production team. 6 runs off the top edge, so he wins the error. But small boundary, and small enough. Those big bats, goes the whole way. That's the first boundary as well for Joe Weatherly. He's on 12, Hampshire, 94 for 1.
He's quite a well-built lad, Ethan Bamber. There's your horrible yellow shirt there, Colo. Sorry about that, viewers. Solid lad, Ethan Bamber. And he almost came through the advertising hoardings and into our small little tent. That would have been most unwelcome.
I reckon we'll get one by the end of the night. We're in a fantastic position. Cullen bowls and Weatherly takes one out to deep point, 95 for 1. Yeah, we're in prime position here at, well, long on for Darcy Short when he's batting at the Salters field end, for example. Would you fancy yourself? If it comes our way, are you going to stick your hands out?
Catching was never my strength, mate. Any kind of fielding, to be honest. Throwing, catching, running after a ball.
But it makes for a good moment. I mean, you've got a better chance of snaffling it than I do, I reckon. You only retired last year. Short can't get this away. Another train whizzes past to our left.
I wonder if the viewers can hear that train, actually. It's really loud down where we are. I was quite surprised the first time I heard it.
I guess that's the thing with outgrounds. You can have different sounds to what you would normally have at a major venue, especially Lord's, a test playing venue. Short, knee up, out towards deep backward square. But Cracknell does the fielding. No doubt he was going to haul that in. Very confident, running with purpose to where he needed to be. 97 for 1.
So you see those fans there, Colo, just at the far end. I think that's what Steve Fletcher, head of communications at Middlesex, said was the grandstand. They're slightly raised, 12 inches or so.
I like it. Big, high. No one in that exact gap, which means it'll bounce and go just over the rope. No, it's cleared the rope. So a fine leg, a deep square, but no one at deep mid-wicket. So Weatherly gets his second big one of the over, and in doing so, Hampshire past 100.
Much better strike, that one in front of square from Weatherly. He was done the previous 6. Top edge down a fine leg. Picked the gap there, though. Looks like he wants to get on with it. Keeps banging it in short, doesn't he? It's generally working. On a bigger ground, you may have had Weatherly caught at fine leg as well. It worked with the wicket, and we're halfway through the innings. 103 for 1 are Hampshire. Means we can just take stock briefly. It was a harrowing start, wasn't it, for Middlesex Colo? 68 off the first 5. But the last 5, if my maths are correct, have gone for 35.
Yeah, and you consider neither of the Weatherly sixes were convincing strokes. The top edge and then the second of those was high on the bat, hung in the air for a long time. Would have been taken had there been a man stationed at deep mid-wicket. So that's a fraction generous to the visitors.
So Souter to continue his second over. Short. Lovely shot that. Went up and over on purpose there, Joe Weatherly. Didn't want to take the risk of hitting it along the ground in case he picked out Owen Morgan at cover. But that's where the space was, just over him. Kept his shape beautifully and just went aerial.
Good one-handed take from a member of the crowd as well, and deflecting off those boards. It's like a ramp you get at cricket training for slips practice or something like that, the slips cradle. And just needed the one hand there, the man in the white shirt.
Down the track this time, Weatherly. Plenty of protection out on the leg side. You've got 3 men out on the boundary on the leg side to Weatherly. The left-hander on strike now. Hitting to the longer boundary on his leg side with a long on deep mid-wicket and a deep backward square leg. Will Darcy Short take it on? Yes, he will. And he's picked out the man at deep square leg. Stephen Eskenazi coming round to his right, takes a good low catch. And that's a good bit of bowling as well by Nathan Souter. He forced Darcy Short to go to the long boundary, and he didn't quite get enough on it.
Well, after getting into the 40s in the space of 4.5 overs, Short was just dried up there, principally by Cullen, but then latterly by Souter. And he's taken on that boundary, as you say, Floydie, trying to go back to what served him well in the power play. Holding out, second good chance taken by Stevie Eskenazi, running in off the rope at deep mid-wicket. And Middlesex are dragging this back nicely, 108 for 2.
Darcy Short has done his job for Hampshire though, with that bright and breezy 48. Slight change to the batting lineup for Hampshire. The wicketkeeper Lewis McManus has been pushed up the order, perhaps with the idea of having a bit of a dip. Tom Alsop, Liam Dawson still to come, James Fuller. Good shot that. Lovely shot through the offside from Weatherly. He looks in really good touch here. That was classical. All along the ground. He's moved swiftly onto 25.
Yeah, a reminder that no matter what format of game, if you can lace a cover drive into the gap, does the trick.
Tries to go the other way this time and get the big slog sweep out. Slightly too full, I think, that one to play that particular shot. And that is the over. Another breakthrough for Middlesex. 113 for 2 after 11. Hampshire still going at 10 and over. So from here, with plenty of wickets in hand, I'm sure they'll be eyeing up a target of 200 plus.
I suppose when you have a power play like that, especially if there's 5 overs like that, you're thinking, well, 200 at a minimum, but especially you look at the conditions here today, perfect for batting, but yeah, a couple of wickets, some frugal overs, there, especially from the youngster Blake Cullen. And Luke Holman, the second of the three, well, the second leg spinner, but the third spinner used so far. He gets his chance. He's played a couple of games in the championship, 3 games in the championship so far this season. Bowled plenty of overs final day at Grace Road.
Another member of the North Middlesex Massive, as Adam Collins calls them. Could be 2 here. Yeah, they're going to come back for 2. Well run. Comfortable in the end. 3 men out on the boundary on that long boundary. Luke Holman has made his mark with the bat so far this year. His maiden T20 50 against Kent off just 33 balls. He's also bowled 4 overs in the 2 games for 31. He's got the second best economy rate to Chris Green this year. Certainly one of the most talented youngsters on Middlesex's books, not just in cricket.
Yeah, and he made a bit of a name for himself last year in the Blast, wasn't it? Got his first opportunity, played 7 games, took 9 wickets at an average of 18 and went at just 6.5 and over. So that was what got him going as a professional cricketer. Got his first opportunity to play in the championship this year against Surrey at Lords. So developing nicely.
Bowls that one right into the pitch to McManus, who takes a single. It will be interesting to see how Holman's career develops, whether he becomes more of a batting all-rounder or gets more of a bowl, particularly with the white ball. Slog sweep, and that's going to sail over the head of the man at deep square leg. Really good connection that from Joe Weatherly. It's a 3rd maximum for him. He is looking very much like the danger man right now for Hampshire. He's moved on to 39.
Yeah, that's comfortably the best of his shots so far in terms of those that have gone big. It was a top edge and one that came off the bat stickers, but that was right out of the screws, over the top of the crowd, who had no chance for a catch. Good calculated hitting.
Could be 2 if they run quick here. No. Sensible in the end. That was too close to Chris Green, who perhaps was on his toes anticipating that might happen. Bit of food going through the shot there. Looked like a nice pie, that.
Yeah, what a great night for it. Perfect time of year to watch cricket in the evening, nearing the longest day, of course.
Oh, well bowled, Luke Holman. Just hung that one outside the off stump, tossed it up a bit more. Certainly deceived McManus. So he's bowled his first over. 124 for 2 after 12.
Yeah, returning to that idea of whether Holman's going to be a batsman who bowls or a bowler who bats. I mean, it's a good problem to have, isn't it? When you're not clearly identifiable as one or the other. Sure, he was picked as a spinner in the championship earlier this year, but makes so many runs for North Mid in the Middlesex comp. He led all comers last season and the season before.
He's very much a batsman in league cricket, actually, for North Middlesex.
Yeah.
He opens the batting frequently. Doesn't bowl as often as you'd think. Good footwork, but picks out the man, Weatherly, who's really come in and looked in top-notch form from ball 1. Leading run scorer this year in the competition for Hampshire. Had a good strike rate coming into this game too of 133. Clearly has very happy memories of Radlett after that 98 and 64 not out to win the game in the Bob Willis Trophy last year.
Yeah, if ever a player deserved 100, it was Joe Weatherly here last year, but they got full points. It was a crazy old chase too, because Ryan Stevenson in action later with the ball and Liam Dawson both were injured to such an extent that we didn't think they'd bat. So one more wicket, it could have been 8 out, all out. Weatherly and Barker got them home.
I reckon that's the first reverse sweep we've seen so far today. It's generally been fairly conventional hitting. And of course, it's a wicketkeeper that plays it. They love a sweep and reverse sweep. That's going to be a wide.
Yeah, we were debating this on another commentary a couple of weeks ago, whether certain wicketkeepers just look like they bat like wicketkeepers. They have a certain feel about them, and sweeping is absolutely part of that.
Skewed off a thick inside edge, just going to be one. So McManus struggling a little bit actually. He's just got two so far. I presume he was sent in early to try and up the ante. Hasn't managed to do that during his brief innings. Weatherly's been the man to continue this fantastic run rate. Oh, that might be over though, because that's a big top edge. And that is a simple catch for the 19-year-old Blake Cullen. Nathan Souter picks up his second wicket of the game. It's another batsman to coming to the slog sweep, and that could well be a big one for Middlesex. Weatherly gone for 41.
So Vince, Short and Weatherly, just when the three of them looked like they were right on top, they've fallen caught in the deep. In that case, as you say, the top edge, Weatherly had swept well earlier in the over, in the previous over I should say, but ends up bringing his demise, and in walks Liam Dawson. Perhaps the most accomplished of the Hampshire middle order, notwithstanding Vince, who of course is opening the innings, but after him it's Dawson in the engine room, such an experienced operator, both for Hampshire and England.
Just been recalled to the England T20 side as well. Perhaps a slight surprise. He'll be involved in the Sri Lanka series, which starts in 8 days' time on the 23rd of June.
Well, that's great news. That's really great news. It was at this ground last year. Turn and throw. Cracknell doing nicely in the field, keeping it to one. Yeah, it was at this ground last year where, when batting, actually, Dawson did his Achilles, snapped it. There was about 15 minutes lost to the game as they were trying to carefully get him off the field, and he took no further part. But that was the end of his season. But also, he just spent the better part of 3 weeks in the bubble with England and didn't get to play at all. So essentially meant it was season over there and then, having not played as part of the extended England squad when Ireland were in town, down at the Rose Bowl. So great for him that he's been able to get back to the national squad. Hopefully he gets a chance against Sri Lanka in the coming weeks.
It's incredible, really, actually, that you've got two Hampshire players in Dawson and Stevenson coming back to the ground where they both suffered serious injuries last year. They really were the walking wounded in that game, Hampshire. Holman started pretty well here. The two leggies doing a good job for Owen Morgan, reining things back in after the early blitz. 68 off the first 5 overs. Things were looking very ominous at that stage. Middlesex have fought well since then. Oh, he goes for the big slog sweep again. This is going to be another chance. Tough one, this, perhaps. And Green has shelled it. Running in from deep mid-wicket. He did the hard work. He got there. Just perhaps didn't quite steady himself. Bit of a surprise, that. That should have been number 4.
He did everything right there, Green. Good technique, sprinting and off the rope. Just steadying before getting into the dive, and maybe it was that loss of momentum.
Could be 2. Dawson wants 2. McManus says no. So interesting, really, that it seems the batsman finding it quite hard to slog sweep the two leggies. Souter picking up 2 wickets to that shot. Holman should have had one there. This time he rolls the wrists a little bit more. Just picks up the single to Blake Cullen. The Middlesex will be happy with just singles at this stage. This one is shorter and it's put away. Just swiveled, did Lewis McManus. Timed that one really nicely. He's starting to slowly find his feet. A rare bad delivery from Luke Holman.
That's going to take some finding out towards the train tracks. Nice pickup shot. Swivel of the hips. Perfect contact. They have got the ball back. I'm wondering how long it'll be before one ends up on the train tracks. We'll cross that bridge, I suppose.
Has the train ever been hit?
Yes. Well, that's a question as well. Maybe if you're from the Radler Cricket Club, you can let us know. Has a train ever been hit by an adventurous stroke? I mean, I hope not. They could put some passengers in a spot of bother, if not the driver.
Yeah, he's dragged it down short again, and this one's helped around the corner over the head of Ethan Bamber at short fine leg. So a couple of bad deliveries to finish the over for Holman. That was a bit of a shame because he bowled well up until that point. Should have had the wicket. Maybe the drop catch just spooked him a bit and he just tried to bowl the ball more into the pitch. Final couple of deliveries didn't work. Why are you laughing, Colin?
A slightly calamitous situation where the ball needed to be kicked over the line by the chief steward, and realising he didn't have the leg to get it all the way to Blake Cullen, he picked it up and threw it to Cullen, who then had to go back over the boundary board and kick it himself. Fancy footwork, and booted that to his teammate Chris Green, eventually at long last to the umpire for the sanitisation. He could have easily picked it up there, Cullen, and no one would have known it, but I would have seen. Integrity is what you do when nobody's watching, right?
Oh, he's a good boy, Blake. Does what he's told. Souter's final over. Just the single to start it off for Liam Dawson. Noticeable actually that Nathan Souter doesn't get a whole load of bounce, does he? Short guy and just skids onto the batsman. Holman's a different kettle of fish, a lot taller. Got the top edge in the previous over. I think they'll push for 2 again. Yeah, they will, and they'll pick it up. Lewis McManus moving on to 17.
Yeah, I like that there's room in T20 cricket for 2 types of leg spinners. Those who try and rip it and turn it square, and those like Souter who attack the stumps.
Run out chance. Bit of a mix-up between the 2 batsmen. Dawson sent back. Not a clean pick-up by Owen Morgan, who has his head in his hands. I think he fancied a run out there. Yeah, they are 2 different types of bowlers. I think Souter has maybe slightly injured a digit there, taking that delivery that was thrown in by Owen Morgan. Looks like he's okay to continue. Again, this will just be a single. It's been a good over so far by the experienced leg spinner. And that's what you want, isn't it, Colo, in a T20 in particular? You don't want bowlers who are the same. You want bowlers who are different, who complement each other. Makes it a lot harder for the batsman. And Dawson goes big. Really big. That has gone into the second tier of the pavilion. A big, big blow. That would have been 6 on plenty of grounds.
Well, we're talking about what would we do if a catch came our way. That wasn't far away at all from needing to be hauled in from one of the patrons on the second deck of the balcony. That was a lovely bit of ball striking from Liam Dawson.
Yeah, I didn't think he'd toss the next one up. Pulls that one into the picks and shorter. Dawson says, I'll just take a single, thank you very much. Keep the strike. 15 gone. 153 for 5.
So Souter finishes with 2 for 32 from his 4. I mean, you look at it on the basis of the fact that they're going at 10s or thereabouts, 153 runs added in 15 overs so far. That's a pretty good performance from Souter. Just sullied somewhat by the gigantic Dawson 6 from his penultimate delivery, but collected Darcy Short for 48, then Joe Weatherly for 41. The 2 crucial wickets so far in this innings.
So Stephen Finn's going to bowl the 16th over. We've got 5 left. Finn's got 2 left. Green's got 2. Bamber's got 2. Cullen's got 1. Holman's got 2. So I'm not sure we'll see Luke Holman again. I could be proved wrong by Owen Morgan, though, who has been known to use a leg spinner towards the end of an innings in Adil Rashid. But I don't think we'll see Holman. So perhaps Finn 2, Green 2, Cullen 1. Do you think that's the way they might go?
Yep, I think that feels about right to me. Green bowls at the death routinely.
Oh, that's a bit of a hack. Oh, and that should have been taken, but there's been an injury, I think.
Well, that's Souter finger. We saw in the previous over that Nathan Souter, when bowling, was in some strife.
I think it's
his
ankle.
Is it his ankle? It's because as he went down, he thought it looked like he reached for his hand, but as you say, it's no, definitely his ankle, his right leg.
The same effectiveness, but it'll be the same approach from Trigo, as we've just seen from Clark. And he's another one who's looked in good touch in the matches we've seen so far. Notts 19 for 1. They've lost Joe Clark.
2 balls left of the over as well. Here on BBC Radio Newcastle, BBC Radio Nottingham. Pleasant evening in the northeast. Bit of blue sky on show, high cloud. Trigo on strike. The former Somerset man turns this one off his legs across towards deep mid-wicket 4-1, collected by Burnham.
Yeah, Trigo perhaps would have thought his chance of getting a winner's medal in this competition had long since passed him by. He played in the finals of 2010 and 2011 for Somerset, and that looked to be as near as he was going to come. Didn't play at all for Notts last year. Finals day he went along. Chris Nash got injured in the semi-final, and in came Trigo.
Final ball played and missed by Hales, end of the over. So 24-1 after 2.
That was an over of 2 halves, as they say. 4-4-4, and then wicket 1 dot at the end of it. 20 on the board for Nottinghamshire. Happy 18th birthday T20 cricket, the domestic T20 game, the T20 game, because it hadn't been played anywhere. Started 18 years ago this week.
Yeah.
The very first game was here, Durham against Notts. It didn't come. I don't know if Marty was here or not.
Yeah,
travel all that way for 20 overs a side? You must be joking. I'll only go as far as Newark for
still longer than a football match, though, isn't it?
Here is Paul Coghlan, the former Notts all-rounder, starting from the Lumley end, bowling to Trigo, and the first ball is a dot.
Coghlan has got 48 wickets in T20, all of them for Durham. So I'm trying to remember, did he actually play in any T20s for Notts?
He played a couple as a fielder. They were just trying to get him into the side, and he wasn't really fit. Had huge problems. Next ball is into the pad of Trigo, and out! Given out! Coghlan's got a wicket. That's number 49, and Trigo goes. It's 20 for 2. Just a single this evening for the former set man.
He didn't appeal.
Oh, he did.
He went after the ball first, and I think the wicketkeeper was appealing before he went and grabbed the ball. Then he turned round to appeal later. But initially the appeal came from behind the stumps and not from the bowler, who was more concerned about trying to stop a single.
Just faced 3 balls, Peter Trigo. So here is the returning Ben Duckett on his way out to the middle. I said it was just really for precautionary reasons that he didn't go to Northampton on Sunday. But clearly everything okay. So he's back, and he's back in the side, and now on his way out to the middle to join up with Alex Hales, who's on 1 not out. He's seen a couple of his buddies disappear from the other end. Good start from Coghlan. So the left-handed Duckett brings about a change in the field. Lovely evening, sun shining, people still coming into the ground, which is good to see, I guess. 4,000 are permitted. Don't think we're there yet, as Coghlan into Duckett. He's away, busy. Clips this behind square on the leg side. He's also quick between the wickets and will come back for a couple, as Jack Burnham, way to our right, fires in a decent return. Couple to Duckett. Knots of 22 for 2. They've lost Joe Clark for a quick fire 18. They've lost Peter Trigo for just 1. Stewart said it did look out, but agrees with you that Coghlan didn't appeal. Next ball to Duckett. Again, he works it on the leg side out to Burnham.
Duckett's just gone past 2,500 runs there in T20. Highest score 96, which I think might have been against Durham.
23 for 2. Lots could do with a contribution from Alex Hales. Scores of 31, 0 and 14 so far for Hales in the competition. Big, tall right-hander, leading score in the Big Bash. 23 for 2. Next delivery driven away by Hales. He'll only get a single for it. He moves on to 2, 24 for 2. The 8th highest scorer in the domestic T20 competition, Alex Hales, throughout its history. Climbing up the ladder quite quickly. Next delivery to conclude the over sees Duckett and just whip it behind square. That's a tidy bit of fielding there by David Beddingham, and it is the end of the over. 24 for 2, so just 4 runs from it, but the important wicket of Peter Trigo. 24 for 2 after 3.
Duckett's highest score against Durham, 72. That was for Northants in 2017. So his highest score in T20, 96 Northants against Leicestershire in 2018. He's got 15 centuries, half centuries, sorry, including 51 this season against Warwickshire. The sun is shining. Start of the 4th over. Carse into the attack, tries to York Hales, who digs it out and plays it out towards the covers. Beautiful evening. Nice to have some nice weather after that miserable first 2 months of the season. It was just so cold and dull, wasn't it? When we were commentating on the final day at Trent Bridge on the Sunday, it was snowing. Carse from the Finkel end. Hales turns that out through towards deep mid-wicket.
Who was directly underneath it at deep mid-wicket. I thought for a minute it was going to go straight into his hands. Unfortunately, from Leicestershire's point of view, it was a couple of feet over, but it wasn't. It was only just over. The fact that it dropped between the between the fielder and the advertising hoardings, which are only 4 feet behind him. You just wonder whether he might have got 2 hands to it out there. Wasn't able to do so. Griffiths in again, bowls best though, just looks to dab it down to find third man, doesn't get anything on the slower ball, which bounces for a second time before it reaches Inglis, but it was a good old pull. He did leap into the air at deep mid-wicket. Just trying to see, I think it's Lewis Hill who's out there. He usually is. He's a long way away from us. In front of the hotel. I'm assuming it is still a hotel behind him.
Sure is.
Buildings change uses, including the one we're in at the moment. In goes Griffiths, bowls, full toss, and driven nicely by Bairstow. Past the diving wide extra cover, no chance for Midoff to get there. 4 runs to Johnny Bairstow, who's timing the ball very nicely indeed.
Yeah, although the 6 he hit, you would think if he really did time it as well as he can, it would have cleared the boundary much more comfortably than that. It's not the shortest boundary tonight, by the way, across to the eastern side of the ground.
That's why I thought it was going to be a catch just over his head. On such margins, our matches lost and won. Bairstow is on to 31-39 without loss. Yorkshire, Griffiths is in. Bowls. Bairstow hits high over mid-wicket. Again, he's got a bit more of that one, and that one certainly does clear wide, long on, stroke mid-wicket. No chance at all